Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork down for a while.
Welcome to the Dork Forest. www.dorkforest.com or JackieCashian.com. My name is Maria Bamford. I'll be your host for this episode. Audio is by Patrick Brady. Music is by Mike Rickberg. Website is by Vilmos. Welcome, Jackie, to your own show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be at my own show. It's a mix-up. It's a mashup of Dork Expedition and we're at Hugos Restaurant.
We're at Hugos Restaurant,
which is one of the best restaurants.
It is good, and it's something somebody could have an obsession about. But it's open all the time, so it's readily available constantly. So it's hard to have an obsession about it.
There's a new one in the suburbs now. They added one in Agora Hills.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is that something about being obsessed with something? It has to have sort of a limit to it in order to be obsessed with. Like you can't get it all the time. Like people aren't obsessed with air.
Oh, I wonder who would be obsessed with air. It's interesting. So I heard somebody do a joke about how they were a foodie, and he said, "I'm a foodie. I eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I'm also an airy."
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if, but I think like, do you mean what's a dorkdom kind of thing?
Yeah, an obsession.
I think it's as I always say, it's enthusiasm, not information.
Enthusiasm. Okay, enthusiasm. Okay.
So it's whatever you're psyched about.
Well, the 3 dorkdoms that I know about you, Jackie, that you have are romance novels, or reading. Yeah, that
reading
is,
in general.
Reading in general.
The one that fascinates you is the romance novel.
I do find that fascinating. Chicken and stand-up comedy.
It's true.
Let's
you want to hop right into it?
Yes. Is there a way? Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to the water. And the
That's
coffee.
great.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I also enjoy coffee a great deal.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That is adorable. Yes. I'm obsessed with coffee too. Okay. Jackie, for your first question, if you were to write a romance novel, what would its title, place, plot, heroine, and hero?
Interesting.
Yes.
Here's the scoop. First of all, a fascinating story about my love of romance novels is that I once tried to write a romance novel.
Oh.
When I was 13, Katie, damn it, I wish I could remember her name so that I could look her up on Facebook and poke her poke her. You can poke people on Facebook, but she turned me on to romance novels. Previously, I was reading a lot of dog books, a lot of books about dogs, but then I started reading Harlequin romances, and I got into Barbara Cartland. And the thing about Harlequin romances and Barbara Cartland books is nobody has any sex. You don't even kiss until you're married. So when I was 13, I read very chaste romance novels. And then in high school, I got into these books that were called Second Chance at Love. And Second Chance at Love...
Is that divorcees?
Yes, divorcees and widows. Karen Rontowski does a joke about being familiar. The Christian woman should be very careful because people know that she's familiar.
Oh.
And I'll tell you this, is that... I read those, and then in college, because I don't read that many romance novels.
Right.
I mean, but you can read hundreds of them a year. And
Do you skip parts?
oh, it's a big skim. It's a big skim because the plots are very simple. It's usually some guy rapes somebody, and then you fall in love with them. And I don't know why, but I like the ones that were set in exotic places because, like, if it were set in China or Australia or Europe, and then I got into historical romances, and there are well-written ones. There are ones like Jane Austen wrote a lot of historical romances. I like those.
Right.
And there's a woman who wrote them, a British woman named Georgette Heyer, who wrote in the 20s and 30s and 40s. She wrote historical romances set in like old-timey Britain.
Okay.
And I like a historical romance. I have to not know a lot about the history because whoever is writing them usually doesn't know a lot about the history. And And so if I know a lot about the history, I get mad.
Oh, sure,
Because
sure.
I'm like, that actually isn't true. And I don't read any of them that are based on Native American culture. Because those people have suffered enough.
Yeah.
We do not need...
Don't have to, yeah.
Right.
What was your initial romance novel about?
Oh, and by the way, my stepmother put the kibosh on it. It was very much, no.
You can't write it, or?
No, it's terrible. She made fun of it. It's, I tried to write a romance novel when I was 13, and I quoted, I think it was... Shakespeare. Oh, yeah. Methinks the lady doth protest too much was actually a line used in it.
Yeah.
And I had written like 6 or 10 pages.
Right.
Handwritten, of course, because it was back in the 12th century before computers.
Yeah.
And my stepmother, she was like, I'll read it. Yeah, I'll read it. And she
Little
read it.
did you know she was an anvil covered in a wet blanket.
She was an angel covered in a wet blanket, bastards.
She was a poisonous playmate.
She was very much whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
And so she did it, and then she was like, okay, this is horrible. And she said it's
Do you realize that she was wrong?
No, I didn't. I knew that she was right.
What was it called?
I don't remember, but there were probably horses involved, because it was right after the horse-dog years of my rating. So I think it was set on a ranch.
Okay, a ranch.
And I was reading a lot of Louis L'Amour books at the time as well.
Was there a young lady?
There was a young lady who, and there was a guy. There was always a guy, and his name was usually Steve. Because I liked the name Steve a lot when I was a kid.
It's a strong name.
It's a strong name. I've gone on to like the name Jack.
Oh.
Who doesn't like the name Jack? That sounds like a nice, strong guy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's,
And you didn't get to the saucy parts in those first 12 pages?
No, I didn't give my stepmother any sort of saucy parts. I think that, I was 13, so I was reading very chaste ones then.
Okay.
So
now, in today, if you had to write a romance novel today, what would be the title of it?
Bow chicka bow bow. Well, and would it be
bow chicka bow bow?
That actually would not be a good name. It would be a terrible name. I think I would have to be like. I would want, first of all, if I was going to write a romance novel, it would be nice to write it about Scottish history, because I don't know anything about it, and I wouldn't feel bad about massacring it. And what I could do is it could be called Highlander Lust or Highlander Love, and it could be about men in kilts, and it could be. There's also, remember The Time Traveler's Wife?
Yeah, I know it was popular.
Right, it was. Exactly.
People seem to be reading it.
Right, and it was, the review of The Time Traveler's Wife was that it was a unique romance. Because it was all about time travel and romance. And let me tell you something about time travel and romance. There are buildings that could be filled with time travel romance novel. Time Traveler's Wife, not unique.
Oh,
Not unique at all.
Yeah,
It's covered. There's a bookstore in Minneapolis called the Paperback Exchange.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this is great.
So it's called the Paperback Exchange.
Okay. We just got our meals, by the way. Jackie, what are you having?
I'm having a lot of fresh greens with a couple of over-easy eggs on top. What are you having?
I'm having a lot of fresh greens with some chicken on top.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you gotta hit the pause button again after lunch.
Okay, so your romance would be a Scottish historical novel.
Yes.
And what would the heroine be like? What might be her name?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's interesting that, because the thing is my romance dorkdom isn't really a dorkdom so much as just sort of me silencing the voices in my mind with a book.
Oh, okay.
That's very easy to read. Here's another weird fun fact, though, about romance novels. Very hard to get them published.
Oh.
They're poorly written, and there are millions of them. But it's very hard to get them published.
Would you proffer, what is one of your favorite plots that they have? Like, if you have, like, a favorite plot where you go, oh, this is going to be good.
Oh, right.
Like,
well, I will, there's sometimes where it's magic. Like, sometimes there's magic involved, like this woman, Amanda Quick. It's not her real name. she did a bunch of ones where there was a mixture of mystery and magic, and so it's probably they're as bad or as good as the Twilight books, or so, because it's just sort of fantasy also. And then I read this series based on like a family, and it was about 6 cousins who all find true love.
Inside their family?
No. Outside their family. It isn't set anywhere weird. I suppose, though, Great Britain is an island. There is a lot of inbreeding.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think that they went out. And the problem recently is that I've been learning a little bit more about British history and English history. And so when things are... And I usually read books that are set in the Regency period, which is like right around 1815, because that's when Georgette Heyer wrote, and Georgette Heyer actually knew, like she was actually a scholar and had like information and stuff.
Oh, okay. Why that period?
I don't know. I like because I don't know. Everybody seems a little more dashing, a little more interesting.
Okay, because that's is that post the Industrial Revolution or pre the Industrial Revolution? Pre.
It's pre, so it's a lot more bucolic.
Oh yeah, horses.
Yeah, horses. 1840s is when, because I've read some that are set in like the 1840s, and they're less fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, great. What are the 3 things you have to have in a romance novel? Do you think?
Well, what if I read the back of it?
Yeah.
It's got to be sort of funny. It's got to be kind of funny.
Oh, really? It's going to be
That guy's
funny.
got the deepest voice in the world behind him.
Pick him up. He might be a good hero. Hero character.
Right. What would you write? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, what would I write?
What would you look for? Because you've tried to read them, and it hasn't worked out.
No, I can't answer any questions. I'm the interviewer.
That's what I like about Maria's like, I'll do the Dork for us, but I can't possibly talk about me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm over it.
Okay, so it's funny, but it's obviously not going to be funny to the person who wrote it, right? It's not
it's quippy. You know,
quippy. Oh, yeah. I see. Like, not like
Spider-Man. We're in a romance novel.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, is there one with Spider-Man in it?
Probably. I've never read it. Well, you know Spider-Man has romance. There's Mary Jane.
Right, and he can't have a full-time job, but he can't tell anyone because he keeps having to borrow money from his aunt.
I know it, but he's a scientific genius. He invented the web slingers and stuff. Why doesn't he work in science? Why is he a photographer?
Because he has to be Spider-Man all night.
He's got to be Spider-Man all the time.
That's why he can't get a full-time job, Jackie. It's a lot of my ex-boyfriends admired that character. Okay.
Right, I don't know.
I as well. I do like the character. That's terrible. Okay, Jackie.
Maria.
Jackie. How does chicken make you feel?
Oh. It makes me feel full.
Full, okay.
It's lovely. Here's the thing about chicken. It was the only thing that my stepmother was good at cooking. And it was the only thing, and it's very easy to make chicken. It is a very simple. You've made the chicken of the gods. You've made the basic chicken.
Yes, I have, and it's delicious.
Just salt, pepper, a little bit of butter, and then you bake it for a long time in a hot oven, and then it's crispy skinned, and it's not fried, so it's pretty good for you.
Right.
And then you just sit there and you eat it, and you eat a lot of it. And I like dark meat better.
Yes.
But for some reason, I buy a whole chicken instead of just buying thighs, which is what I only want to eat, really. I just want to eat chicken thighs. In real life?
Yes, yeah.
If my life were my own.
Yeah.
And it really is when it comes to chicken. But here's the reason I don't buy just a giant packet of thighs, is I think it's somehow healthier to buy a whole chicken and cut it up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That sounds reasonable.
Because there's less processing. Like if I buy a packet of all thighs, I just think
a bunch of hands have been on there.
Yeah. It's like
rubber gloves.
Yes, I just think that a lot of people have touched it, and there's been a lot of opportunities for it to have been on many different surfaces. When if you just hand me a chicken, I rinse it off a little bit, and then I just cut it up myself.
what's the best starter chicken you can get on the market? Like if you go, does it have to be organic? Is that what it is about?
I like what I like to call a chicken that chose to die.
Okay.
A free-range chicken, a chicken that lived a good life, and then we ended it, essentially, sadly. But what was the chicken going to do with it? Was the chicken going to write the Great American Novel? It wasn't. So it doesn't matter, right? And they're tasty as all get out, aren't they?
They are tasty.
So I would go with an organic, free-range chicken if you can.
If you can. What's the second step down? Like, let's say you're in a smaller town.
I just go whole chicken. I would just go
whole chicken. Okay.
Yeah, try to, what I like is the guy behind you is having lunch with his friend on the phone the entire time.
I've had that happen.
I disapprove.
It doesn't feel good.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, okay. What is the worst chicken you've ever had?
That is an excellent question. How could you ruin chicken, you say to yourself?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those nuggets.
Oh, from McDonald's?
I don't care. I don't care where they're from. I'm going to take a stand and say all nuggets. And also, ground chicken. You've ruined it if you ground chicken.
I don't know.
Ground turkey, for some reason, kind of okay.
Yeah.
Ground beef, don't have a problem with it. Ground chicken, I feel like you've ruined a chicken.
I don't even know how that looks like.
It's very white.
It's not right.
It's pale. It's pale.
Okay. What's the last chicken you've... Oh, you just had a little bit of my chicken today.
I did. You ordered that nice green chicken on top.
Was it nice? Oh, what's
I had to
the last...
stop making chicken for a little bit because when Andy and I first moved in together,
yeah,
I said, I hope you like chicken. And if you ever get sick of chicken, just pipe up and I'll make something else.
Yeah.
And many years have gone by, and only recently, as he said, what about some pork? And, because at first he was very supportive. He said, if I don't have to cook, that's a win.
Yeah.
And so, because I could seriously just eat that salt, pepper, garlic, a little bit of butter, chicken. I could probably eat that every day. I could probably eat that 5 times a week.
Okay.
So I tried it. I went and I got new recipes. I will put them in the notes. I would like one more coffee. And I made like this Moroccan chicken where coriander and cumin are involved. I made this other Mediterranean one, where you marinate it in yogurt and mint, and that's quite nice. A little cayenne pepper, and I just ate. I could eat more chicken. It turns out right now.
Have you ever made a chicken that has been inedible yourself?
When I first started making chicken, I wouldn't cook it enough, and then I'd eat it anyway. There's a terrible admission. And then I wasn't killed.
Yeah, you didn't lie.
Because it could have been botulism, it could have been salmonella, it could have been all kinds of things.
Were you urgently needed to have the chicken, and that's why you had to take it out early?
I didn't know what done looked like.
Oh, right.
You know when you first start cooking and you're like, I don't know, that looks sort of like what it looks like in the restaurant.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I totally know that. Okay, when's your first memory of having chicken?
Oh, it has to be when I was like 7 or 8. 8, I think.
Yeah, that was Nancy's reign.
Prior to Nancy, there was no cooking.
Right.
Oh, no, I remember it might have been... No, it would have been Nancy's reign, because I also remember we never had Kentucky Fried Chicken when my mom was alive either. Kentucky Fried Chicken's amazing. It's not even really a chicken.
Yeah.
It's its own food.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when you go to Taco Bell. There's no meat, right? Now we've found out that there's no meat in their meat.
What?
Yeah. 35% meat, they found out.
35% meat? What is the rest of it? Gluten?
I know, it's sawdust.
Sawdust?
I don't know that. There is some trouble.
Gluten?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's... Oh, I'm fine. Oh, you know what? I will have some more ice. That'll be fun. Thank you.
Let's just do it. Let's have a little more iced tea.
If you had a dream chicken dinner dream team, like who would you invite? Where
Jamie
would it be? Okay, you'd invite. He'd come over to your house and put somebody like a chicken situation with people, like where it was like a party. Like what would be your dream situation?
Dick Cavett. Jamie Oliver. It'd be like the Algonquin Round Table with chicken served.
Chicken served.
It'd be pretty awesome. And you would have to come.
Oh,
That would be
that's
lovely.
real nice.
And Aaron Foley, wouldn't that be
Oh,
nice?
that would be nice.
Who wouldn't want to play apples to apples and James Urbaniak? And, it'd be an Ira Glass. What the heck?
Ira Glass, sure.
I actually don't know him well enough,
Yeah.
but he'd probably be pretty darn good at
Oh,
at
yeah.
apples to apples. And who doesn't like apples to apples? You remember apples to apples?
I do.
That's that one where everybody gets 3 minutes, so it's really good for comics. Because you're holding a handful of nouns, and then someone throws down a green card.
And then you describe it?
Yeah, and then you there's an adjective like horny, and then you have hippopotamus, and you throw that down, and you're like, this is not horny at all.
Right.
And someone gets to judge all the different, like one person gets to judge all the cards. It's a fun game. You like
Okay,
it.
I know I've played it. I know I have. Back to you, Jackie.
Oh yeah.
Now,
As I described, the thing you did.
Yeah.
This thing, did you know? But
Oh, you're
so
touching-
it would be like James. Yeah, it'd be really fun.
Okay.
To have just Dick Cavett, maybe just Dick Cavett and Jamie Oliver in the same room together with yourself and myself and Andy, and we would have, and maybe grilled chicken. Grilled chicken is nice when you do that yogurt marinade and then you grill it.
okay.
Charcoal, not gas, by the way.
Charcoal, like I would. This is a question back to romance.
Okay.
Now, one of your jokes, Jackie, is that you have no expectations in relationships.
Oh, right.
But then romance creates the highest expectations ever.
It really does.
So I was wondering about that, like, because I know that people say watching porn doesn't affect their experiences of sex. Like they go, oh, of course I don't expect people to go for 8 hours.
And romance novels are nothing but porn.
Yeah.
So that is the comparison, and it is a valid one.
Yeah.
Because romance novels, the expectations are that opposites attract.
Right,
That's
right,
the
yeah.
first expectation of a romance novel.
Okay.
And then the second expectation is that there's going to be like this super fire, like the passion is going to be unbelievable, right?
Right.
And then the third expectation is that it's just going to be smooth sailing all the time. In the sack as well as out of the sack.
How did you let go of those expectations after reading?
I still have some of those expectations.
Yeah.
Because I think in moderation, much like porn, in moderation, opposites. Like it is interesting when somebody likes something you.
Yeah. Different.
I mean, that is the Dork Forest.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
whatever weird thing you're into, and so. Yeah, so I don't. Everything just gets toned down because we're in real life. Right. And there is passion. Right. We all have passion. We're all very excited to be making out and touching bits. Bits are very exciting. And bits are very exciting. So,
Yes.
So there is passion. But then you're like, what is rarely addressed in a romance novel that is lovely in real life is the learning experience once you've spent some quantity time together.
Yes, and know everything. But yeah, they don't. That would be neat to have a mid-romance novel.
Oh, right. Like, how are things going year 12?
Yeah, year 12.
Is it still working?
Yeah.
Or whatever, right?
Yeah, that'd be really good romance novel like that. And then every page would just be sexy, dirty parts because they already knew each other.
Where's that Oprah book of the month? Mm-hmm. That could be done.
Okay, that's it. Because I thought that was really hopeful. Because you don't seem like a person who has expectations, and and so. But whenever I think about when people talk about porn, I go, how could that not affect your expectations in sex if you are totally watching porn a lot? But maybe it isn't. It doesn't affect anything.
Or maybe it does, and it's just part of it. Like I don't know. Like sometimes if you're having sex and you drift off, I don't know. Like because you want to live in the moment always.
Yeah.
But even during sex, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Let's talk hypothetically. Let's not have any sort of
Let's
specifics.
say you're a person living in France.
Yes, the French sometimes think to themselves. Or Kenya.
Yeah.
You're in Kenya and you're doing it. And you drift off and you think to yourself, I remember what happened in that porn.
Oh, right.
And you're like,
and that seemed nice.
That seemed nice. Why don't I pretend that I'm in that very dangerous porn situation, but I'm with my loved one.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty nice because
Yeah.
it's not so scary, and that guy isn't raping me.
Right, he isn't actually going to punch me at any point. But I think to myself, anticipation, what if I were ordering dinner?
Yeah.
What if we were having sex, but we were out at a restaurant?
Oh my god, that's like a combo. Yeah, how could you combine all your dorkdoms of romance novels,
I never
chicken,
no,
and stand-up?
Leave my chicken and my.
You want them separate?
Yeah, I don't want any food involved in the sack. You know what that sounds like? Like I'm going to have to clean that up. That's what it sounds like. I'm very tidy. I tend to...
Yeah, no, it's not, okay.
It sounds sticky.
Okay. Okay. Okay, regarding stand-up comedy,
Regarding the stand-up comedy,
what, over your lifetime, and you can narrow it down, it doesn't have to be,
let's do 5-year chunks. No, it's fine.
no, what was your best show ever that you remember feeling the best after, or during,
Weird.
in your whole life?
In my whole life?
So far.
Do you know? Yours? You do? That's so weird. They're all such a... What's yours? If you'd be willing to share
Mine
this
is,
small glimpse. Was it
I like
televised?
balls.
Oh, it was a balls event.
Yeah.
Just one night at the
Yeah.
Southern Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota at 1 in the morning,
Yeah.
going up in front of Brian the Fan and Leslie Ball, following lesbian drumming or Native American dance, or lesbian dance or Native American drumming.
Back to you, Jackie. What's your favorite?
That was that. No, I actually I need to know more about this to try to find my own.
How did, it just feels so good, and every time I go there, it feels really good.
Just because it's so positive and everybody's on
Super
board.
positive and super loving, and
I do. You know what? There are lots of places like that. You know, it's like sometimes when I'm at Acme in Minneapolis,
okay.
and you're just sometimes it's usually at Acme when I'm just in the zone, you know. Balls is really good because they're so giving. Most of those storytelling shows, which is surprising to me, you don't do the storytelling things because those people are willing to sit through some silence, and I'm not good with the silence. But if it's a storytelling show, I give myself somehow permission,
Right.
to not make them laugh every 2 seconds.
Right, okay.
And if it's a stand-up thing, I will talk faster and faster and faster to make sure I get all the jokes in, and make them laugh. But so like here in LA, Akbar is one of the most forgiving places and most supportive places. It's that gay bar that Aaron Foley and Bruce Daniels run on Tuesday nights, and it is the audience that comes to that. They're like, "What weird new thing are you thinking about?" It's sort of like the UCB crowds, where they're comedy nerds, they're comedy dorks, and so they want to hear whatever you're thinking about. But sometimes I get down on myself at UCB, so I don't have as much fun as I should be having, because those audiences are really supportive and really want you to have a good time. But I get in my head because there's so many kind of fantasy, you know, the darlings of the alternative. They go up and I'm like, oh, I want to be loved as much as Zach Galifianakis or Patton or whatever. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's just comedy, right?
Yeah. What is your worst show ever?
It was every time I go to Atlantic City. You know, I do that joke about North Platte, how much I don't like North Platte. North Platte has nothing on Atlantic City, New Jersey. Atlantic City, New Jersey, first of all, I didn't know what I was doing because everyone's super old. I've only done it twice, and they were super old the first time, and I talk too fast for the elderly. I've actually had them tell me, like, you gotta slow down.
Right.
Give me a minute to get the punchline.
Right.
And the last time I did it, there were a lot of kind of Jersey Shore kind of Goomba guys. And it's not that they aren't smart, and it's not that they don't get stuff. But for some reason, they want you to start out. Karen Rotowski told me this. She said you got to start out real shock jockey. You got to swear to get their attention, and then you have to tell like 40 minutes of material in a 20-minute segment.
Would you go back again?
Well, that's the funny part about it, because, I did it, and it was a nightmare, because it was the only time I've ever had my time cut. Mm-hmm. I was doing 25 minutes. 20 or 25 minutes. It was J.J. Walker, me, and then Manny Oliveira was the headliner. Oh. J.J. Walker, who was the star of the show, Dino Mike guy, right?
Yeah.
He emceed, and he was telling jokes. They were very old-timey kind of jokes.
Right.
And so they didn't set it up really well. And, everybody's, as you say, everybody's journey is valid, and they're very lovely, everybody's doing their thing. But it was a bad fit.
Yeah.
And so it took me till Wednesday, because I was there Monday and Tuesday, 2 shows a night, Monday, 2 shows Tuesday. On Wednesday, it took me till Wednesday to figure out how to do the 40 minutes of material in 20 minutes. So I went in on Wednesday, and the club manager goes, hey, I got a call down from the club owner. We're going to cut your time.
Right.
And I feel like someone had punched me in the gut.
Yeah,
that's never happened before.
Yeah, it's happened to me.
It doesn't make any sense. You're just like, I'm the only one. I was so mad.
Yeah.
I'm shocked I didn't just burst into tears out of nerves.
Yeah.
But, because it's just nerves that would make you burst into.
Yeah. It's painful.
It's painful. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do the dorky part of stand-up comedy. I never think I'm not going to do well, It's sort of like I was in college once and had a poli-sci professor say, he was talking to a couple of us and this other woman who were there during his office hours, and he said, what are you guys thinking about doing with your poli-sci degrees? And I said, well, I was thinking about going to law school. And the other girl turned to me and she said, by the year 2000, 1 out of every 10 Americans are going to be a lawyer. Which, of course, is like one of those statistics. You're like, where did you pull that out? I don't know that's real. But I turned
by year 2000, everyone's going to be an asshole.
By the year 2000, you're going to be an asshole, is what I should have said to her.
If you already aren't already.
Well, I said, I'm not planning on being a crummy lawyer. I'm planning on being a good lawyer. Right. So it won't matter if there's a million bajillion lawyers. Right. I'm not going to be one of the shitty lawyers.
Right.
And so whenever I do something, I always plan that I'm going to be good at it.
Yeah.
Which can backfire, because then you think, well, if I'm not really good at it right away, I don't want to keep going.
Yeah,
Like improv. I took 1 improv class and I was like, oh, I'm not very good at this. I guess I won't take 2.
Yeah, it's a bummer to... It can be a bummer to fail or learn or fail again. Okay, Jackie, if you had...
I like that a lot of your questions are, what if you had to do something?
Yeah.
What if
you had to rescue an animal and carry it with you in your purse, what animal would you choose?
A tiny horse. I'll tell you what it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a spider. I don't enjoy spiders. I saw a black widow in our backyard today, the size of my thumb. And the rule with spiders, because I made a pact. I made my peace with spiders many years ago.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago. Anyway,
yeah,
sometime. Because I used to have spider nightmares.
You put a letter to them in your God box.
We had a deal. Because I used to have nightmares about spiders where they would rain from the ceiling, and I would wake up screaming.
No, that's a horrible dream.
It's a horrible nightmare.
Oh my God.
Oh, no. I was like, what was I raised like Harry Potter underneath the stairs? Anyway, but so the rule with spiders is if they're in the house, they're dead. You are dead to me, spider in the house.
Okay, yes.
If you are outside, that's where spiders belong. And they're doing good work, right?
No.
Unless you're a black widow. And then you're dead to me.
Okay.
But the black widow I saw today over by the lemon tree, so big, I couldn't kill it. It intimidated me to the point where I was like, I'm just going to spray you with the hose. And then I'm going to go away. And the thing about spiders, they live through water.
They do?
I'm pretty sure.
Even hot pressure water? Like they're being
I think my
protesting at a whatever? I can't remember what it's called. I won't use a cil rights reference.
I like it. The Birmingham spiders. They marched in Washington.
This little horse. Would it be a
Palomino?
Palomino. Palomino. And would it be a boy or a girl? Horse.
You know what? I think I would like a mare. I would like a girl horse.
And what would her name be?
Star.
Oh, that is so cute.
It would be my little Palomino Star.
Oh my God. Jackie, could you please write a romance novel where you have a little horse and you're in Scotland? And you guys, and you do
the moors. Are there even moors in Scotland? That's the thing about it.
And you're doing the road in Scotland, jonglers, like you're doing a bunch of comedy clubs.
You've been to Scotland. See, that's the thing. I would be particularly suited to write a romance novel set in Scotland, as I've never even been to Scotland.
Oh my God, that'd be perfect. Yeah, just what you think Scotland would be like, and then so your character.
I could definitely romanticize Scotland.
So the guy, the main hero, his name is Jack, and he's the opening act. And you're staying in the condo together, and you make him chicken, and he wears a kilt. Anyways,
so what you've been doing during this entire York Forest
trying to
is
pitch
playing
you
some sort of game where I am writing a romance novel. Yeah.
You have a tiny horse named Star. Okay, only Jack would see it. Okay, would you like to see my tiny horse?
Magical tiny horse. That's what I've decided to call my vagina. Jack, my tiny. No, Jack's the name of the guy. Sorry about that.
It all works. Okay, now. Oh, now this is, I don't know, do you have like some goal in stand-up where you go, okay, before I
win now?
Before I die, I'd love to do this in comedy. Do you have any goal like that?
I'd like to do Conan.
All right.
I'd like to do more comedy on television.
Okay.
Just because there's a certain amount of validation when you're on television. It doesn't mean that those shows aren't real. Because I'm thinking I'm gonna tape a live Dork Forest next week or this week in Chattanooga.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. It may not be recorded. It may just exist and then be gone. Just be there for the 30 people who see it.
Oh, great! Yes.
It might be just something, because it doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yes, it happened. This is happening right now.
Right, and whether or not Patrick Brady can filter out the guy doing side work next to us, where he's stuffing Splenda into little boxes.
Well, that's kind of fun. I like atmospheric
radio.
Do you
like a Dork Expedition?
I do. I do love it. Now. Okay, let me see. Jackie, I don't know if you noticed, but we're growing older.
The aging
process. Where do you see yourself? In 10 years, I'm going to be 51.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself at the age of 50?
I am going to be 56.
Okay.
Let's not tell people.
Okay.
I don't know that. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's thousands of people who know. You're like, how are you going to hide it, Jackie?
Yeah.
Bill Burr last night had a very funny plastic surgery. That's what I think is funny, is a lot more comics are doing, as we get older, the comics around us are doing jokes about their real lives, you know? Like Dana Gould has that awesome plastic surgery bit. And then Bill Burr has an awesome plastic surgery bit. And I think, I see myself, I think the whole world, we're having, especially in the United States, we're not really, all the new babies are all Mexican, right?
Right. Maybe Nicaraguan or somehow South American.
No, I love that you just went right, and then thought about it. Was like, what just happened? Was there racism?
They may consider themselves Chicana.
They might consider themselves American.
Yeah.
So the thing is no. There was I read something about how like all the the fastest growing part of the American population is Latino.
Right.
And so, what is my point?
Yeah, what does this have to do with the aging process?
The aging process is that so
People with
when
more
white
melatonin
people-
in their skin.
right, and the disparity between the rich and the poor.
Oh, yes.
Is just Whitey has all the money.
Yeah.
And I have become quite successful financially.
Yes.
It's all working out for me.
Phew.
I am able to purchase many comic books a month. And I'm buying new books instead of used. And so...
That is a good feeling. The
The
slicked covers.
I
The
almost
slick.
today over at, as I went to the Best Buy to find an attachment for this recording device in an effort to bring out. Patrick would like me to use some sort of sound buffering system in these Dork expeditions, but
Patrick is
Patrick Brady does the audio.
Brady does the audio on dorkdoms.radio.com.
Nice work. And there's a donation button if you want to use it. And,
Oh, yeah, why don't you use that donation button?
have. It's
Guess
nice.
what? This lunch wasn't free.
No. It's Hugos. It was actually quite expensive. So I don't know where I see myself in. There's part of me that's just doing more of this. You know, I'm really liking, because I've always done more storytelling on stage stand-up wise. I'll always do stand-up. I'd like to write a book.
Okay.
The thing about
What
writing
would you write a book about?
I think it'd be stories.
Okay.
I've never...
Like memoir?
Yeah, memoir. The crazy thing is, though, wouldn't you like to write fiction? Have you ever thought about writing
Nope.
fiction?
I would not.
I don't think I can do it. Fiction is a hard thing. Even if it were about a tiny horse and a guy named Jack in Highland.
See, I think that's written itself. I mean, you don't...
See, now you think a romance novel writes itself, and then if you sat down to do it,
No, it's serious business.
and then you couldn't get it published.
Jackie, that's what we do.
What?
When we tour on the road, we start working on a romance novel together.
All right.
You know, it could be a slow thing to do into...
And then we can self-publish.
Yeah, we could do it or give it away for Christmas in 2014.
2 years from now.
Yeah, maybe what we could do is but it could be like an endless project that we don't
could start
finish
a
until our
blog page.
90s. No, nothing. I like that idea of nothing happening, that it just keeps being made.
Oh, right, it never gets published?
Yes.
And never ever, we'll just continue to write it forever.
Yeah. I just
That's true art, when no one sees it.
yes.
But doesn't match our couch.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm more and more interested in that stuff that nobody sees.
Just secretly creating
Yeah,
art.
yeah.
In a closet.
Yeah.
If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Because if you make art and nobody reads it, is it really there?
Yeah. Oh, for sure it is. I've been enjoying it. I've written a lot of jokes, tell myself jokes in the car, and I don't think anyone's there to hear them.
Pretty sure. Big Brother maybe.
Except for me.
Right. And you've written them and you've thoroughly enjoyed them.
Yeah.
So that's a valid
I'm
art
fun.
form. Do you think that's
I'm
it?
fun. Oh, yeah. The individual, showcasing for yourself.
I like it.
Okay, 2 more questions. When you were a kid, what did you create? Or what were your favorite things to do creatively? Like, if there's an assignment at school, what was your favorite thing to do?
A favorite memory of mine, and this is something we could do on the road, Maria, is Mrs. Kauth, my 5th grade teacher, to whom, by the way, my sister Darla was her favorite student, and then I came along and I was not her favorite student, and my fury knew no bounds.
Yeah.
And I started the Hate Marianne Schwartz Club. Anyway, Marianne Schwartz, by the way, perfectly nice woman, is, I believe, a stewardess at this time. But
deeply flawed.
she was flawed in 5th grade. She was mean to me. So, get this. Went on, by the way, to play an excellent trumpet in high school band. Really? Let's talk about Marianne Schwartz for 10 minutes. No, here's a scoop, though. Mrs. Kauth had a great writing example. And what it was is she would take words from... It was very improv, because she would take different suggestions from the class and then create a story title. And then you had to write a 2-page short story based on that. And I don't think I kept them, which is very sad. But I do remember that they were always like the toilet paper roll that took over Manhattan. Or, she would like put together like a long sentence and then you had to write a 2-page story on it. And that is one of my favorite memories from school as a child.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and the one thing I remember, I used to have them, is when I reread them in college, I remember that one of the recurring themes was children beating up adults. It was always some child, finding criminals.
To the death?
No, just essentially, it would be like a citizen's arrest kind of thing, where the child, it would be like, 3 investigators kind of thing, or Nancy Drew kind of, where, even though Nancy Drew is 16, I mean, that is an adult almost.
But would the
would be
main
like
character,
a 10-year-old.
And would the 10-year-old take a punch at people?
Oh, yeah. And for some reason, take them down. And crime was fought by children. The main child was the protagonist, and
It was a girl child, or
it was usually a boy. I think in 5th grade I wanted to be a boy.
Okay.
Because boys had it was always better.
Yeah, I know, they could do whatever they wanted.
They got to do whatever they wanted,
Fun.
and they were never judged for it.
Yep.
Indiana Jones was nice.
Yeah, get dirty.
You could get dirty, and because I used to. That was the other thing, is I used to play this game called Imagination, where I would make my TV shows and movies that I saw come to life in my backyard.
What?
And, oh yeah,
That's awesome!
It was when I was about 10 or 11, 9 or 10, my dad was like, "You're crazy," and my parents told me I was crazy, and that
My parents do.
right on.
Not in those so many words, more clinical.
Oh, right. No, they said, "You're insane." And so I started writing a journal to Sigmund Freud when I was 10 years old because of MASH, the TV show MASH, where Dr. Friedman, his journal, he wrote to Sigmund Freud. And so I wrote to Sigmund Freud and I'd be like, how can I stop playing Imagination? I mean, if you read these journals, all it is me obsessing about trying not to play this game. Imagination. I played it all day today. And I would just go in the basement and, like, the furnace was my time. I mean, it was like...
That's awesome.
It was, and I played Tarzan's boy a lot. I was Tarzan's boy. And, because Tarzan had a boy. And I obviously knew that, there was no Harry Potter. So... I obviously knew, though, that these were not my real parents, and that I was destined for greatness. Yeah. And so I made bow and arrow in the backyard. That was my favorite thing, because I would make a bow. I stole a bowstring from the archery club in the summer at Ross and grade school. Possibly should make an amends for that.
Listen, there's still time.
And I would use, I made a bow. And then the arrows I would sharpen on the sidewalk. You know how you scrape it on the sidewalk and you make a point. And then I would try to hunt rabbits in our backyard. Spent a lot of time alone when I was about 10.
Oh my God, me too!
Yeah.
What happened? All right,
there we go. And now we spend time together.
Yeah, I know, that is nice.
Nice.
Nobody's alone anymore. So if I gave you...
I built an igloo when I was, one winter was the best thing I ever built. An igloo, because it was, remember, in Minnesota and Wisconsin, the drift. You could just dig into a drift and create an igloo.
Yeah, you got your snow cave right there.
It was cold, though.
What about your tiny horse, Jackie?
Tiny horse had to be left in the house.
Okay, now, Jackie, if you... Okay. I'll just ask you one question.
Yeah, this could be because
we're almost done. Okay. Okay, Jackie, what advice would you give to yourself of 10 years ago? Like 10 years ago, yourself. Like, what advice would you give about, like, career? Relationships.
Because 10 years ago was before I met Andy.
Okay.
10 years ago was actually a big time ago for me. Because I was trying to figure out how to live my whole life.
Right.
Like if you want... I've always thought that comedy was kind of a gift. that I found it so early when I was 19 that it was something that I really wanted to do.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't know what they want to do with their
Right.
lives. So, or they know what they want to do and they just, like a lot of dorkdoms, you don't make any money at it. And stand-up comedy is true as well. You don't make any,
Yes.
most people just, if you're lucky, you make a small living at it.
Right.
And if you're super lucky, you make a good living at it. And then there's 9 people who make a boatload
of money.
Yeah, and so, but I would say just keep going. Because 10 years ago I decided I wanted a whole life. Like I wanted a boyfriend. I wanted to sort of get healthier.
Yeah.
It's LA will do that to you. It's one of the good byproducts of Los Angeles is that it will allow you to be self-absorbed.
Yeah. Yes.
And start thinking,
everybody's doing it.
it's just like it allows you to go, well, I'm going to be better for my family, and I'm going to be better for my friends, and I'm going to be better for my career if I take a nap, if I go work out, if I eat vegetables, or if whatever, or if I do that thing that I've always wanted to do, which is I have always wanted to crochet nets, or angels are real. I'm going to learn how to smelt mithril. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you can do whatever you want. Whereas other places, I mean, like, I was just in Houghton, Michigan, and it seems like maybe you could be a drag queen and do Shakespeare there, but
you might want
kind of a hard sell. You might have a smaller club.
Right. I mean, when my brother Scott moved to Omaha, he was moving from Chicago to Omaha after living in Chicago for 17 years. He said, "You've been to Omaha and you said you liked it." And I said, "The thing about Omaha is that it has like everywhere, it has a very small but vibrant artistic community."
Yes.
Granted, you're hanging out with the same 20 people.
Right, all the time.
Those are the people that those are going to be your friends. Those are going to be your gaming buddies. And there's probably going to be 3 of them that you really like. And then you're going to hang out with the other 17 because they're the only ones that love what you love.
Yeah, that's true.
And that doesn't make them, that you don't like them. It's just...
Yeah. It's going to be imperfect.
Yes.
Which is...
What would you tell you? 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
What would I tell myself 20 years ago?
Oh, what would you tell yourself 20 years ago? Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, I didn't live here.
Yeah.
I did stand-up comedy. What would I have been? I would have been, I guess, 26. And I would have lived in Minneapolis. And I drank like crazy. Like crazy I drank. Instead of... I might have told myself I want to respect the booze a little bit more. Because I would still maybe get to drink.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting obsession. Really? That's the advice?
Yeah. Might want to slow down so you can kind of
keep doing
drag this out.
Drag this. I would definitely tell myself to be nicer to myself, and not to remember to have a whole life, and to make sure that I did everything I wanted to do. That's good advice, right?
That is good advice, Jackie. Jackie, those are all the questions I have for you today. This has been another fantastic episode of the Dork Forest. And for more on Jackie Kashian, why don't you go to JackieKashian.com or YouTube it? Or why don't you come see her perform at any number of venues all across the country
You can
and
come
the
and see
world.
me perform. Opening for Maria Bamford.
Oh, yes.
Or you could go for MariaBamford.com. You might want to look under MariaBamford.com's with Jackie Kashian, which is often listed.
Yes.
On
It's
your
also
schedule.
listed. As long as I've remembered to list anything. But,
right.
anyways, it's the new marketing theory of not letting anyone know about anything.
Right. We could follow everybody on Twitter.
Keep it quiet.
Keep it quiet. Just tell yourself jokes in the car.
Yeah, that's my new pitch.
It's like your showcase of one.
Yeah, what's the demographic here? Me.
My hat. They're dancing around my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?